Hello everyone and welcome to Grinds Online Ireland. I'm Tara and today we're going to be covering some sequences and series questions, particularly with arithmetic sequences. So our question today is 1 over a, 1 over b and 1 over c are consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence where a, b and c are real numbers and are not 0. And it's our job to express b in terms of a and c and give our answer in its simplest form. So when they ask us express b in terms of a and c, that means get b on one side of an equal sign by itself, and then on the other side of the equal sign you can only have a's and c's. And all they tell us in this case that 1 over a, 1 over b and 1 over c are terms in an arithmetic sequence. But guys, you should remember in sequences and series, this is not in your log table, so you will have to know this off, that if we have one term, n, and if I take away the term before that, n minus 1, for an arithmetic sequence, that will always be equal to the same number, c, or in this case, actually, it's going to be the difference d between each one of them. So if we picked our first term to be 1 over b, and we can if we take away the first term before that, 1 over a, that should be equal to d. But who's to stop me from doing it with the third term, 1 over c, take away the term before that, 1 over b, and that must also equal d. So if 1 over b minus 1 over a equals d, and 1 over c minus 1 over b equals d, which is the difference, and that is the number we're adding each time to get to the next term in a geometric sequence, then these terms must be equal to each other if they're both equal to d. So we're going to have 1 over b minus 1 over a. That must be equal to 1 over c minus 1 over b. And it's our job to get the b on one side by itself, guys. So how about if we bring over all the b's onto this side, and if we bring all the ones that aren't b's on over to this side. So the minus 1b becomes a plus 1b. So we have 1 over b plus 1 over b. And then we'll have 1 over c, and the minus 1 over a becomes a plus 1 over a. So the left-hand side, 1 over b plus 1 over b, well, that's just going to be 2 over b. And then 1 over c plus 1 over a. Now it's our job to see, can we simplify that down any further? And that's 2 fractions. We don't like fractions. So how about if we kind of change that to 1 fraction and then get rid of the fraction altogether? Because maths is all about getting rid of what we don't like. So to change that into 1 fraction, well, what we first have to do is to get the denominator of our new fraction. And that's just the denominator of the 2 of them multiplied together. So that would be a multiplied by c. And to get the top then, well, we get the top of the first fraction, the 1. And I multiply it by the bottom of the second fraction, a. That's our first step. Our next step then is to look at the sign in between them and put that down. So that's a plus. And then we do the exact same with the other one. So we look at the top of the first one and we get 1. And we multiply it by the bottom of the second one and we get c. And if we tidy that up, we're just going to get a plus c over ac. So now we know the equation, 2 over b is equal to a plus c all over ac. Now that b isn't on the one side by itself at all like we wanted to. There's that annoying 2. So to get rid of that 2, how about if we just divide both sides by 2? So if I divide this side by 2 and this side by 2, these 2's cancel each other out. We're just left with 1 on top here. So we'll have 1 over b is equal to a plus c over 2ac. Now we're nearly there, not quite. So we want b is equal to something, but we have 1 over b is equal to something. So this is kind of a cool maths trick that you can do, guys. When you have 1 fraction on one side and 1 fraction on the other side of an equal sign, you can flip both fractions and it's still the exact same thing. So for example, I can change the b into b over 1, or the 1 over b into b over 1, and the a plus c over 2ac, that can just be changed to 2ac over a plus c. And you can only do this when we have one fraction on one side and one fraction on the other. Now b over 1, well that's just b, so we're eventually just going to be left with b is equal to 2ac all over a plus c. So here you can see we've expressed b in terms of a and c because we have b on one side of the equal sign by itself, and on the other side we're just left with a's and c's.